In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Why Allah tests us. The topic of trial and test is the important part of Islam. When it comes to this topic, there are a lot of things we may discuss. However, this video is concentrating on two fundamental following questions. Why does Allah test us? And what should our attitude should be when having a test from Allah? Why does Allah test us? Allah clearly says in Qur'an that life is a test. It is He who created death and life to test which of you are best in deeds. For He is the Almighty, the Forgiving. Quran 67:2. Several religions preach that God always sends trials and testing as a form of punishment. They claim that experiencing adversity as illness or financial loss is a sign that somehow you have disrespected God. But in Islam, this is not the case. There is no correlation between our present situation and the attitude of Allah towards us. For example, if a person loses his job, it doesn't mean that Allah is angry with him. On the other hand, if a person gets promotion, it doesn't mean that Allah is happy with him. Instead, Allah put us into these situations to see how we react to them. In the above Quranic verse, it is said that tests and trials are part of everyone's life. Each and every one of us will be tested to a certain extent so that Allah can determine who has true faith in Him. Hadith that shows two reasons a test may occur in someone's life. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Nothing befalls a believer, a prick of a thorn or more than that, but Allah will raise him 1 degree in status thereby, or erase a bad deed." Bukhari. In the above hadith, there are two reasons of tests which can happen with someone. In the first reason, Allah will test a person with something, so that he has the opportunity to successfully go through the test with the right attitude. And Allah will elevate his position in paradise. The second reason is that, if a person has done something wrong and didn't ask for forgiveness, instead of getting punishment in the hereafter, Allah will put him through something in this life. The punishment in this life would be nothing as compared to the punishment in the hereafter. Actually, this trial is a form of Allah's mercy. What should be a person's attitude when he faces test or trial? Keep it in perspective. Allah does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. Quran 2:286. Allah will never put a person in hardship that he can't handle. While we are going through a trial, we become so focused on the trial that we lose sight of everything else. For example, if a person loses his job, he will start to focus on the things he does not have and forget the things that he has, for example, health, family, or, if nothing else, their faith. Rather than focusing on what we do not have, we should focus on what we have. This will allow us to stay positive about situations, and knowing that Allah will never give a person more than he can handle. This helps us keep everything in perspective. No matter what it may be, we should never lose hope, since we already know we will get through it. As long as we keep the perspective in mind that Allah will never give a person trial that's bigger than what they can handle. The rewards of the test are always greater than the test. Surely there is ease after hardship. Surely there is ease after hardship. Quran 94:6-7. In this verse, Allah is reminding us that if we face each trial with the right attitude, it will lead to several rewards bigger than the trial itself. Keeping this in mind, it is much easier to maintain steadfastness in the face of hardships, knowing that Allah has promised us victory if we approach difficulties with the correct attitude. A perfect example of this verse is shown in the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him. After preaching Islam for 13 years, there were only a small number of Muslims in the city of Mecca when the migration to Medina took place. 10 years later, the entire Arabian Peninsula had embraced Islam, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was joined by tens of thousands of Muslims during his final pilgrimage to Mecca. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Wondrous is the affair of the believer, for there is good for him in every matter, and this is not the case with anyone except the believer. If he is happy, then he thanks Allah, and thus there is good for him. If he is harmed, then he shows patience, and thus there is good for him." Muslim, we should always keep this hadith in the forefront of our minds. In our lives, there are rarely any times where things are simply neutral. Mostly things seem to be progressing, or it seems that everything has turned against us. This hadith shows us the strength of our attitude, because our attitude shows Allah that we have faith in Him. We can change a negative situation into positive situation, and a positive situation into negative situation with the help of our attitude. Moreover, if the situations are not going right but we remain steadfast and patient, Allah will bring some good from the situation, and things will eventually get better. This hadith gives us hope that Allah is with us no matter what the situation is. All we have to do is to keep a right attitude towards the situation and good faith towards Him. All praises and thanks be to Allah.